heading into every single draft. There will always be the hype that the first overall pick will be the next big superstar in the league. But as we know, no matter how good a prospect is, no matter how dominant that player was in the junior ranks, by no means is that player guaranteed to be a star in the NHL, let alone a full-time player in the league. So then, I'll ask you this. If most, if not every first overall pick is hyped up to be the next big thing, then how do we know if that player is going to be a generational star? Not an elite goal scorer, defenseman, or goalie? No, we're talking about one of the all-time greats.
The feed, Gensel knocked out of the air, Crosby, unbelievable goal! He flipped it up to himself.
Coming in, Alexander Ovechkin curl and drag to the back end, he scores! Simply sensational!
McDavid trying to split the defense. McDavid, what a play, what a goal! Oh my, Connor McDavid!
Today's video is sponsored by Fume, and I'm very excited for the sponsorship because I think it's something that can help many of you watching this video, as Fume is a no vapor, no nicotine, just flavor, award-winning air device that delivers great taste without any harmful chemicals. Instead of inhaling vapor, you simply breathe in natural, non-toxic flavors that satisfy the craving without the downside of nicotine. Because to be frank, we are in a vaping epidemic. There's a good chance you know people who vape, maybe you vape. We all know it's not good, but end up getting fixated not just on the vape itself, but the habit. That is the habit of sucking on an object, whether it's due to stress, boredom, or social pressures, which may sound silly, but it's true. And I respect Fume so much for this reason, as they're taking the charge and creating a habit-breaking device. It's sleek, portable, built to last, and with so many flavors to choose from, it's a no-brainer for those who want to kick the habit, or maybe just take a break. On top of this, and I'm not even joking, this thing is like the best fidget spinner I've ever had. So with over 500,000 people making the switch to Fume, now is the time to take advantage of my limited time offer, because if you order the Journey Pack, the same one in this video, using my code RobTalksHockey, you'll receive a free Fume topper, an awesome accessory to level up your experience. So click the link down below, tryfume.com/RobTalksHockey, or scan the QR code on screen to get yours today. Because here's the thing, we as fans, hell, even NHL teams, tend to be horrible at predicting who the next superstar will be, even when it seems blatantly obvious. Think about Bedard. Everyone thought that Connor Bedard was that guy. He still may be that guy, but the fact that he hasn't dominated off the get-go has led to many fans thinking, you're not that guy, pal. As Bedard had every single thing you look for on a resume to predict not just the next superstar, but potential generational star in the league. Unbelievable point totals, I mean 71 goals, 143 points in just 57 games in his draft year. In a full season, the kid was on pace for 85 goals, 171 points. He broke records in the World Juniors.
Slides in again. Bedard talks right in.
Came up big, showing his poise and clutch factor, leading to Canada claiming a gold medal, on top of having some of the nastiest highlights I've ever seen.
In the slot, little drag move to the backhand, scores! Nasty goal, Connor Bedard!
Bedard to bring him up for Regina, 1-on-2, step by the defenseman to the net, the deke, and he scores! Oh my!
Yet, he hasn't lived up to the hype. Well, kind of, as I personally think it's a bit overblown. The guy's playing on a horrible Blackhawks team and arguably doesn't have a single forward to play with who would be in the top 6 of a contending team. And some people say, well, if you're a first overall pick, you're bound to be on a bad team, which is definitely true. But I would argue that Bedard's team has been far, far worse than any other recent first overall pick. But the fact of the matter is that when you're breaking scoring records and are deemed to be the next big thing in the league, being under a point per game in your first 2 seasons just doesn't cut it. Which now brings us to Gavin McKenna.
With speed, Pacheco the trailer, McKenna, what a move, Gavin McKenna, mastery!
McKenna wants it, he'll get it, he'll take it, and he scores! Oh, a snipe!
McKenna cuts, waits, has it on the back end, what a pass, what a goal!
Because as it stands, Gavin McKenna, just like Bedard or Connor McDavid, is shaping up to be what some people consider to be a generational talent. But how in the hell do we know he's legit? Again, we've seen this before, so is McKenna really worth the hype? Well, let's look at his resume. As a 14-year-old playing in his first WHL game, he put up, just a casual 4 points. This is no joke. He was literally a child facing off against guys upwards of 7 years older, and he lit him up.
Back to McKenna, walks in, down low, Weisblatt redirected, scores!
On this graphic, we have the greatest draft -1 seasons from 2000 up until today. And keep in mind, this list is full of stars and great players in today's game, and they don't even sniff some of the prodigies like Crosby, Bedard, Tavares, or Connor McDavid. This pack is heads and shoulders above the rest, and it's not even close. So you may be wondering, where does McKenna fit here? Maybe around Bedard and McDavid, that would make the most sense. And well, here's McKenna. Yep, this past season, McKenna had 129 points in just 54 games. He would lead the entire CHL in scoring in a season where he started as a 16-year-old. If he played the entire year, McKenna would have been on a 157 point pace. The kid isn't draft eligible until 2026. So let's put this into perspective. If Bedard played the entire season in his draft -1 year, he was on a 110 point pace, which is incredible by any metric. McDavid tops Bedard with 120 points, and Sidney Crosby tops them both with an unbelievable 155 point pace. Whereas Gavin McKenna was on a 157 point pace, as this kid had a better season than Sidney freaking Crosby. Because in the past, when I looked at top prospects like Bedard, the fact that he was even in the same realm as McDavid or Crosby was impressive enough, whereas McKenna has done the impossible here. In fact, this was the greatest draft -1 season by a player in WHL history. But okay, as we know, stats don't mean everything, and you're absolutely right. But here's what's fascinating about McKenna. The kid has 0 holes in his game. On this play, McKenna anticipates the play and steals the puck away from the defender. Keep in mind that the defender was Landon DuPont, who is shaping up to be one of the greatest D-man prospects in NHL history. And from a stop, McKenna shows off his explosive first step, gains separation from the defenders, where with his head up, he sees an opening.
With McKenna for the kill forwards, and look out, McKenna just stole it. Here's McKenna breaking in shorthand, and McKenna scores his second shorty of the game.
On this next play, McKenna does an homage from McDavid's playbook. He picks up the puck on a loose play in the neutral zone and starts to build up speed. And at this point, if we look at the two opposing defenders, they look to be in a safe place. They have a head start and good gap control on McKenna. However, even with their advantageous defensive positioning, McKenna is able to build up speed, maintaining near perfect puck control. He goes through the defenders like it's a drill and scores, well, he scores a lucky goal.
McKenna up the middle of the slot. Gavin McKenna takes it on the backhand, centers one in front. He scored!
Because when we look at prior phenoms who struggle to reach their potential, there will always be one big requirement: skating, edge work, an explosive first step, and of course the ability to maintain puck control even at high speeds. Take John Tavares as an example. He has soft hands, is strong on the puck, leading to dominant puck control, but he has one massive hole in his game. That is, he's always lacked that explosive first step, which is why, without a doubt, he was never able to quite reach that top tier at the NHL level. I would say at best he's an average skater. He was able to compensate with his hockey IQ, puck skills, and shot, but in terms of competing against guys like McDavid, you can't just be an average skater, as you could say that Bedard is in a similar realm. Now, he's hands down a better skater than Tavares, but he more so falls under the Crosby umbrella, and that their skating advantage comes from tight edge work, not so much straight end speed. On this play, Crosby picks up the puck behind the net, notices McKinnon trailing him, and Crosby knows for a fact that due to McKinnon's high-end skating ability, he will stay glued to him if he chooses to skate in a straight line. So what does he do?
Not so fast, Kowalski. That is an amazing move by Sidney Crosby.
He uses his edge work, does a stutter step mid-stride, and breaks McKinnon's ankles, where now he has all the space in the world. However, Gavin McKenna so far in his career has shown he has the edge work, explosive first step, and puck control to not just be good, but within the elite category. Now, he doesn't have McDavid speed, nobody does, but he's good enough where his skating is a big asset to his game. So okay, he has the skating ability and surpassed Crosby in point production. What else? Another big factor is hockey IQ. In today's game, we have seen so many players who are gifted athletes. They're bigger, faster, and stronger than their draft class. They might be good players, they might even light up the junior rank, but they lack hockey IQ, as their natural abilities will carry them outside the NHL. But when they reach the NHL and they have to match up against the Jacob Slavins, Patrice Bergerons, the Barkovs of the hockey world, their hockey IQ is exposed in 4K. Now, what is hockey IQ? Honestly, it's one of the hardest things to explain because it's intangible. It's more so something you can recognize when you see it, but you can't really explain it. As I like to explain it, as a player playing chess in real time during a shift, they anticipate plays, they know what their teammates are going to do before they do it, and they're able to read the opposing defense like a book, which may seem pretty simple from face value, but when you're skating as hard as you can for 20 seconds into your shift, the very fact that players can somehow process things in real time and even predict the future is just mind-blowing. On this play, Gavin McKenna picks up the puck at the opposing blue line. Also, here's another example of his elusive skating style, because even though he does a hard stop on this puck retrieval, he does a few quick crossovers and is back to speed. But okay, and with his head up, he sees the defenseman cheating towards his teammate. McKenna sees the gap in the middle of the ice and attacks. At this point, he draws in 4 out of the 5 defenders. He then predicts his teammate's going to jump into the play. He now has an open lane and scores.
Gavin McKenna, dipsy doodles into the slot, still has it right side. Pickford shot, scores!
As McKenna reads this entire play, he predicts everything the opposing team is going to do, on top of trusting his teammates to recognize to jump into the play. Not only showing his elite hockey IQ and ability to manipulate the play, but his skating, vision, and playmaking skills. But okay, this next play is nuts. McKenna picks up the puck in the right corner. He slams on the brakes to gain separation, as this defenseman assumed he was going to carry it up to its blue line, but instead he uses his edge work. And guess what? He does it again. And now he has all the time and space to make a play, but here's the thing. He is drawing in so much attention and creating chaos that the opposition completely loses track of his line mates, where his teammate is left open for an easy goal.
Spins back in the corner, cross ice pass, Pacheco scores!
So okay, he has the stats, skating ability, hockey IQ, vision, passing, scoring, but I would also argue that work ethic is the most important trait here for a true generational talent. And well, the kid doesn't get off the ice, he shows up early and is last to leave. On top of that, he's constantly being praised by his management and coaching staff on how well he treats his teammates. So in summary, in my opinion, we have a gem here. Because did I also forget to mention that he's 2-3 inches taller than Connor Bedard and Crosby? So size isn't a concern here? Are you joking me? Gavin McKenna is the real deal, and in my opinion, is worth the hype. Where all past prodigies fell short, McKenna has excelled, and it's going to be fascinating to see how he translates to college hockey, as McKenna is the first Canadian prospect in this realm to dominate the CHL and sign in the NCAA first draft year. I'd really appreciate a like on this video, a big shout out to Fume for sponsoring today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.